Tupac Shakur, an American rapper, was fatally shot on September 7, 1996 in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas, Nevada. He was 25 years old. The night of the shooting, Tupac was leaving a Mike Tyson boxing match with Marion Suge Knight, a music producer, at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. When leaving the fight, one of Suge Knight's associates, Trayvon Lane, spotted Orlando Anderson, a rival gang member of the Southside Crips. Earlier that year, Anderson and a group of Southside Crips tried to rob Lane in a Foot Locker. Lane told Tupac about it, and in return, Tupac attacked Anderson in the lobby. The fight was captured on video surveillance and then was broken up by hotel security. Later that night, Tupac and Suge Knight were in a 1996 BMW sedan heading to Club 662. At 11:15 p.m., a white four-door Cadillac pulled up to Knight's right side and fired rapid gunshots into Tupac's car. The shooter used a .40 Smith & Wesson Glock 22. Shakur was struck 4 times, twice in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the thigh. Suge Knight was hit in the head by fragmentation. Suge Knight then attempted to drive himself and Tupac to the hospital, but they were pulled over, and then the paramedics then transferred them to the hospital. Tupac was placed in a medically induced coma, but on September 14, 1996, he died of respiratory failure that led to cardiac arrest. Now, onto the suspected murderers. In 2014, a police officer claimed to witness Tupac's last moments, said Tupac refused to state who shot him. A year after the shooting, Suge Knight also claimed he didn't know who did it, but if he did, he wouldn't tell the police. But the police and the public had their own opinions and theories. The first one is Orlando Anderson, the man Tupac assaulted earlier that night. He had an affidavit filed against him as a suspect by the Compton Police Department. Orlando Anderson was murdered on May 29, 1998 at the age of 23 before he was charged with a crime. He was most likely the actual shooter that night, and I'll explain more in just a second. The second suspect is Dwayne Davis. Dwayne Davis is an American member of the Southside Compton Crips, and he is Orlando Anderson's uncle. On July 2nd, 2018, Davis confessed to having a role in the killing of Tupac Shakur after revealing he was dying of cancer. He went on to say he was the passenger in the white Cadillac the night of the incident. He refused to name the other suspects in the car, but confirmed the shooter was Orlando Anderson, his nephew, and that it was out of retaliation for getting jumped at the MGM Grand earlier, and also a $1 million bounty on his head by Puff Daddy. Which leads us to the fun part of this conspiracy, the celebrity portion. There are 2 main celebrities that a lot of people will think were involved in Tupac's death, that being Puff Daddy and Notorious B.I.G. Let's start with Biggie. After rapper Christopher Wallace, better known as Notorious B.I.G. or Biggie, was shot 6 months later, there was widespread speculation that the 2 murders were connected. Though initial reports claimed no evidence for the connection, in 2002, Los Angeles Times published a 2-part story by Chuck Phillips titled, Who Killed Tupac Shakur? Phillips' 2002 report alleged that Wallace promised Southside Crips $1 million to murder Shakur and supplied the gun used. According to Phillips, the Crips began planning the murder after seeing Anderson's wounds and already having connections to Wallace and being aware of the rivalry with Shakur. Phillips claimed that Wallace supplied the weapon because he, quote, wanted the satisfaction of knowing the fatal bullet came from his gun, end quote. Wallace denied playing a role in the murder, and his family produced computerized invoices suggesting that Wallace was in a recording studio in New York City the night of the shooting. Wallace's manager, Wayne Barrow, and rapper Lil Cease publicly denied that Wallace had a role in the crime and said they were with him in the studio the night of the shooting. The next possible celebrity that could have been involved was Puff Daddy. In October 11, 2011, former LAP detective Greg Kading, a former investigator in the murder of Biggie Smalls, released a book alleging that Sean Diddy Combs, aka Puff Daddy or P. Diddy, commissioned Dwayne Keith D. Davis to kill Tupac Shakur, as well as Suge Knight for $1 million. Detective Carding claims that Biggie did not play any part of the murder of Tupac, despite their well-documented rap beef. He says that B.I.G. was not aware of Diddy's plans to kill both Shakur and his manager Suge Knight. To wrap it all up, I personally believe that Orlando Anderson is most likely the shooter, and he may or may not acted upon his own volition. But to this day, we can't be 100% sure.